What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Congress is racing to pass this major bill, which is basically kind of like a budget to prevent the country from defaulting so that the country literally doesn't run out of money and has money to pay its bills and prevent the country from collapsing. Major stuff here. The problem is, and there's a couple major problems here. That we'll go over here. Congress races to pass debt ceiling bill ahead of Monday deadline, which is the new deadline here for the where they're going to have to pass it and get all the votes to do this here. Both Republicans and Democrats both kind of saying, yeah, we're not sure about this bill here. A growing number of people in Congress saying they're not going to vote for the bill. Yeah, debt ceiling bill faces a tough path in the House as GOP Republican opposition grows. Yeah, you can see here a number of House Republicans are coming out against the debt ceiling deal. And it's not just members who originally voted against Kevin McCarthy's speaker bid. Nancy Mace, Wesley Hunt, Ken Buck, Corey Mills signed their opposition, and the number of Republicans and potentially Democrats are growing here by the hour almost. Yeah. U.S. Republican Representative Chip Roy says, quote, we're going to try to stop the debt ceiling deal. And if this happens, we default. And the government doesn't have money to pay its bills. So this is a significant problem. You can let me know your thoughts here on this, but if they stop the deal, then what? Here's what Kevin McCarthy, Speaker of the House, has to say here. Take a listen.
Mr. Speaker, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me all the way down even in Florida.
Right. I know how hard you guys worked on this deal, but it's going to be a nail-biter, it seems, going down to the wire. How concerned are you about the bill that you cobbled together getting out of committee?
Well, look, it's a different Congress. It's a new day. It's not that you have to pass the bill to find out what's in it. You got 72 hours. This isn't a 1,000-page bill. This is 99 pages. And this is different than we've ever had before. We're actually going to spend less money this year than we spent last year. And your viewers have heard me give this analogy before. A debt limit is like the family having a credit card, but you've been charging it up every year and just keep lifting the limit. This year's different. We now say we're going to spend less. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to look at all what we spend our money on because the mandatory spending, Social Security, Medicare, that's all off to the side. So I can only look at about 15% of what we spend our money on. So what we did is, in elements like non-defense, that's going to go below 2022 levels. So that's a very positive. But the other thing we did, we put ourselves on a spending plan. We cap how much we can spend for the next 6 years with government. But we also did something different. In this family, we may have a child that able-bodied, not married, no kids, but he's sitting on the couch collecting welfare. We're going to put work requirements on that individual, so he's going to have work requirements. He's going to get a job, and it's going to make the life easier. But we're also going to look at places we've been spending our money that we've wasted that we're going to return, right? Like all that COVID money that we didn't spend, we're going to bring it back. But one of my favorites here is $400 million for CDC, the Global Fund, where we'd use that hardworking taxpayer money over to China. We're not going to do that. We're going to send that back. And then we did a number of other things here, right? One of the things that's very interesting we did, that the president has been spending money wildly. If he wants to put a new regulation in, we took an executive order of President Trump's, and now we're putting it into law and making it a little tougher, where if he wants to put a new regulation in, he has to cut government if it costs more than $100 million. And then we looked at things about cutting the red tape, that we get so frustrated that we can't build the roads. It takes 7 years. We now reform NEPA, the environmental review. Instead of waiting 7 years, now the studies are only 1 to 2 years. This hasn't been done in 40 years. And then we did something interesting to make government or make Congress consequences for their lack of action. They have 12 appropriation bills that they have to pass every year, and they never do, and they come back with that omnibus. Now we say, if you don't do your job, it's a 1% cut across the board. So encourage members of Congress, not now with the new Congress, you actually show up, now you're going to have to work. This is going to be the biggest cut by the Congressional Budget Office says in history of where we're going forward. To do all that, we allowed the debt ceiling to go forward for the next 18 months, and we'll readdress it, hopefully with a Republican president and a Republican Senate, to even make it stronger.
All right, Mr. Speaker, we want to play you these two sound bites. These are two in the GOP that are saying they're voting no, and we'll get your reaction on the other side. Here's Chip Roy and Ralph Norman.
There's going to be a block of us that are a no. And I hope that more Republicans will join with us and stand up. I would like to say that we should kill this. We should move forward. We should pass a short-term debt ceiling change. Let's not lift the debt. $4 trillion. Again, I want to repeat that for America. $4 trillion. We are going to have an uncapped, actually, debt ceiling that will equal $4 trillion that expires in a lame duck on January 1st, 2025. And for that, we do not get substantive policy reforms on any of the green tax subsidies, the corporate cronyism.
I think we need to call our bluff. And there is a time that you walk away from negotiations, and this is one of them. They're not serious. Biden dithered for over 100 days. And no deal is better than a bad deal. And this is a bad deal for America, and it should not move forward.
Mr. Speaker, they're both on the Rules Committee. You need their votes to move forward, and you're going to need Democrats.
Well, we're going to sit down. We're going to talk today, have people come in. It's the first time they're back to be able to walk through the bill. I mean, read the Wall Street Journal. They say it's a very good bill. You look time and again. What's interesting, compare it to other debt ceilings. When we had the presidency, the Senate, and the House, they just raised the debt ceiling with no cuts. It was just a clean debt ceiling. We only have the House. The president said he wouldn't even negotiate with us, but we were able to get in there. This is the biggest cut in American history that we'd vote for. And I'm not sure where in here. There's no new taxes. There's no new government programs. Would I wanted to cut more? Yes, but I was only able to work at less than 15% of the budget. So I'm not quite sure what else they want to go. 72% of this is off to the other side. We were able to plus up defense and the veterans, but that non-defense without veterans is actually lower than what we spend in 2022. I think we got to look at where the victories are. We don't spend another $4 trillion. We allow them to keep going forward until January. But you got those extraordinary measures. I think if we got a new president in there and a Senate majority, we're going to finally be able to tackle this. I would like to look at everything and put us on a better path. This is just the first step.
So, yeah, I mean, you can let me know your thoughts here on this, with his goal being that he wants to cut and, Social Security and Medicare, that being off to the side, not counting work requirements and stuff. With his goal being what it is, I think, he did a decent job. The other issue, of course, this is going to come afterwards, hopefully, is that they do need to fix Social Security and the Medicare Trust Fund. They can't just leave it alone. And that's a major issue, because if they do, Social Security and the Medicare Trust Fund are set to run out in just a few years. Social Security in about 9 years, the Medicare Trust Funds in even less than that. If they do nothing, they will run out of money. So they can't just leave them alone. So for this negotiations, they didn't touch them. And the problem is that, and who was it? I think it was Republican Senator Bill Cassidy actually criticized both Biden and Trump for saying that they're not going to touch Social Security. And he's actually right, Bill Cassidy is, because of the fact they can't do nothing. They can't do nothing, because if they do, we'll fast forward here in 9 years and Social Security Trust Fund will literally have no money. And then they will only be able to run off of the money that's coming in on a monthly or daily basis. And Social Security is saying that that will lead to, I think it's approximately about a 24% cut. This is a serious issue, because we're all putting into Social Security, or if you've already gone through that phase in your life and you're on Social Security now, you've put in for years and years and years, and you're living off Social Security now. That's a significant cut for anybody. Okay, so they're going to have to fix Social Security in one way or another. So we got a lot of different issues here. I'll keep you up to date here on all of them, the debt ceiling, Social Security, Medicare, trust fund, and everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. Let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I'll keep you up to date. So if you haven't yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below and the bell icon so you don't miss out on any new videos. It's completely free to do so. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks so much for liking and sharing these videos. Here's some videos you should watch next. Here's the video about them cutting the military budget and what senators are saying about it here. Pretty shocking video here in this. And Putin just issues an arrest warrant for a U.S. senator and says he will give nuclear weapons to new countries who support them. Click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.